This camera is helping me take better pictures, better composition, and I want to share with you why is that. So let's talk about this now. Hi there and welcome to my channel. My name is Tudor Matescu and I want to share with you why this camera is really helping me take better photos. This camera is really helping me get better at photography, and this is a true affirmation. So if you are in content like this, please subscribe now to my channel and give it a like. Why this camera is helping me take better pictures? Well, I'm using this camera for over 3 years and I've used different cameras alongside this camera, like Ricoh GR3X, like Fujifilm X-T5, like Fujifilm X100V, like Sony A7C, and so on and so on. So lots of cameras with different design and ergonomics. But this camera is the only camera where I feel that I'm singing at a violin, at a special violin. Because when I'm looking at all my pictures between these 3 years when I bought this camera, I'm seeing better pictures. But it's not just that. When I'm using this camera on the streets, I'm feeling inspired, but not just inspired, I'm feeling forced to make composition. So this is what I want to get. This camera is forcing you in a good way to take better pictures. You can't use it like a snap shooting machine. Why is that? Because you have a closed screen. This screen, it is closed, you can't see it. If you want to see the screen, you must flip it. But again, using the screen like this is not like using a normal tilt screen. So this is the great thing about this camera. Even if you want to use the screen flipped to take pictures, tilt to take pictures, you'll have this down angle that will force you again to sync. But again, it's not just about the screen, it's about all the design and all of the ergonomics of this camera. The point where I want to get regarding the screen is that even this screen, when it is opened, will help you take better pictures. So the design of this screen, it is excellent. Yes, you can't do snaps, but this is the idea. This is the idea if you love photography. If you love photography, you love good compositions, not just snaps. You love to think about compositions. You love to think about how you will align the elements in the photography that you will make. So the screen is doing this. But being a closed screen, you can't hang this camera on your neck or on your wrist with the screen opened. So you are forced to open the screen just when you want to use the screen. But when the screen it is closed, you are forced to use the optical or the electronical viewfinder. Because now we are getting to this point, this camera has an optical viewfinder, but also an electronical viewfinder. So why this optical viewfinder will help you take better pictures? Because it's a great optical viewfinder first of all, and you are able to see outside of your frames. So this camera is acting like a rangefinder camera. You will see a square in the optical viewfinder and you will be able to see outside of your frame. This means you are able to compose a picture and wait for the other elements to enter in your frame in real time view, in real world view, because you are not forced to use the electronical viewfinder. This is a big help, especially if you use this camera with a 50mm equivalent lens, and this will help you get better compositions, and I will get why this lens, the 35mm f2 on this body, it is perfect for good compositions. But regarding the optical viewfinder, you will be able to see outside of your frames, and seeing the frames of your final picture will help you take better pictures, because you'll be helped to think about your borders. I'm seeing at beginners in photography that they don't think at all at their borders of their pictures. the borders of the pictures are very important. You must not think, okay, I will adjust my pictures in post-processing and I will crop it and I will get the borders that I want. No, with this frame that you'll be able to see it in the optical viewfinder, you will do the crop instantly. So these frames will help you better understand what you are doing with the borders of your picture. This is a very huge help for composition. It is crucial. It is crucial. And no other camera will offer me this, a closed screen that will force me to use the optical viewfinder. I have X100V, but the screen is not closed. So I'm using especially the screen. I'm not able to have the wheel to use the optical viewfinder. The optical viewfinder with the frame lines will help you see who is getting in your frame and think before about your main frame, about your main scene, and wait and take the picture. And even if you don't want to wait, just seeing those borders around your subject will help you take again better pictures, because you'll compose by looking at the borders. When you are using an electronical viewfinder or even a DSLR with optical viewfinder but without a rangefinder frame, you'll not be able to do this. You really must train your eye to look at. This video it is sponsored by my site and my newsletter. On my newsletter I share tips, tricks, POVs, explain POVs, where I document all kinds of events and designs and so on that you can get and download on your computer. So please check my newsletter. You'll find the link of my newsletter in the comments and in the description. Click that link and subscribe now to my newsletter for more tips, tricks and news from the borders of the electronical viewfinder or at the borders of the optical viewfinder. But this is another story. You will see outside of your borders, so you are able to see your borders. So this means again better composition. So this is why buying this camera and using this camera, it's really helping you take better pictures. And the next point that I want to get is that you have an electronical viewfinder. Well, the electronical viewfinder, it is great when it is very sunny outside or when it is very dark outside and you can't compose very well with the optical viewfinder, because let's say you have the sun hitting you right in the eye between the optical viewfinder and your eye, or being very dark, you can't see well the scene, then you can use the electronical viewfinder. So you'll be able to use the viewfinder in any weather and lighting conditions. And what does this mean? This means again better pictures, because better pictures are made when you are using the viewfinder. Why? Because when you are using the viewfinder, you will close in general the second eye, the left eye in my case. And this means you will isolate yourself from the world and from the distractions of the world, and you'll have another view, another way of thinking and of composing. You'll have in a way a retreat in you, and you'll be able to compose, and also you'll be able to discover the gestures and the reaction of the people. So for me it is easier to use an optical viewfinder like this than an electronical viewfinder when I want to take pictures of people on the streets. It's easier for me to see in real world the reactions. But when I'm using an electronical viewfinder, even if I had a good camera with an excellent electronical viewfinder, there is a lag there. There is something between me and my subject and my scene and my picture that will not help me think about the composition, that will make me and put me in a way that it's different from this real world experience with no lag, because you have just a piece of glass between you and the world. So this is a huge help. Next, pairing this camera with a 50mm equivalent lens, in this case the 35mm f2 lens, will help you take again better compositions, because Bresson was right. When you will use a wide angle lens or a very long lens, you'll have different problems in composing those images. But with a 50mm lens, it is pretty easy to take crops of the world and to have a good picture, because you have a lens that it's not too tele and it's not too wide. That will help you get again a good composition. So you'll be able to do portraits, you'll be able to do even landscapes if you have enough space, you'll be able to do urban scenes and so on. This lens with this body are a perfect match, all metal and all weather sealed. So this means you can use this package in all weather conditions, and again the frame lines are perfect because these frame lines and with this optical viewfinder are telling me when looking through the optical viewfinder that hey, you have a big distance or you have a considerable distance between you and your subject. Don't stress about it. But when I'm using an electronical viewfinder, the scene, it's coming very close to me. I'm in the scene very close, even if I'm using a 50mm lens. And this is stressing me a little. But using the optical viewfinder and seeing the square and the distance between me and the scene and the subject, it's assuring me, no, you are okay. Take your pictures, take your time, think about composition, you don't disturb nobody, just take the picture and do right the composition. The next point that I want to address is that this camera body and lens are all metal. And this in your hand is feeling very well. Being all metal, you have a heft to this body, but this heft is helping you have stability of your hand. This heft is helping you have a hunter feeling. Why? Because it's built like a tank, is feeling in the hand like a gun, and this rough body is helping you. Okay, I'm taking the pictures, I'm taking the shot. Now, this is an exact art, and I want to be exact. I'm not just flipping my camera and taking pictures and then looking post and crop the images and adjust the images and so on. No, this is a precise tool, and this package is inspiring you to do this, and it's offering you confidence because the titanium feeling, the metal build, the grip, the tactile feeling, it's helping your brain have that confidence, and this is important. So all these elements are working very, very well to help you take better pictures. And as a final conclusion, I went out with this camera a few days ago and my work proved my point. I've took only 40 or 50 pictures or even lesser, and 20 pictures are really good and probably 5 good and so on. But all the pictures, I like them. I like them. Good compositions, balanced compositions between light, subjects and relationship between elements. I can't do this with other cameras. Doing this with other cameras is a pain for me. I really must strive and say to myself, please use this camera like a photography tool. Make compositions with this camera. But no, the good AF of a camera, the excellent AF of a camera, the excellent screen of the camera, it's inviting me to do snaps. But with this tool, I am forced to do precise work. I am forced to do precise composition. And all the design and ergonomics are helping you do this. So a great tool, a great camera. If you want to find out more about this camera, check the links in the comments and description. Also subscribe to my newsletter for more tips and tricks about photography. Like this video, leave me your comments, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.